Ah, behold the field of failure. The many projects that await. We need to get started on something right after this. Welcome back. If you haven't seen my videos before, I'm Rusty Oliver, man. Even Dad brought a whole load of failure projects for me to work on. We'll get to that. That poor tiller has to come pretty well totally apart. So that is neither here nor there. But I want to get this off of the trailer and somewhere where I can, or at least on ground level, where I can work at it a little bit. I want to try, before we get too involved with it, this here little HG crawler we bought about a week ago. And I've been accumulating parts for it that I don't have on hand. So they're in the mail. Can't do anything about that. But one thing we need to do is, something's not right. I mean, I've heard it run for a good little bit and it doesn't run the right way. Like you can't get it timed just right. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull the Govenor out and we are going to try to retime this the correct way and see if it's, we don't know who's done what. They may have the camshaft timed wrong in there. I'm hoping not. I think what I'm going to start with is assuming that they did that part right. And then what we're going to do is we're going to try to get that Govenor timed correctly to the camshaft gear, because what has to happen is it has to be right. Normally Govenors, it doesn't matter how you time a Govenor, no problem. But on these it does, because the Govenor is the thing that has the slot in it that drives the magneto. And so what is happening here is I'm betting that they used the wrong timing mark and they put the Govenor in, and now it's not meshing up with this magneto, which proves out why you have to have it all this way to run and you can't go more. And if I am correct in my understanding, I do have some notes written down here we can check when we get into it, but the Govenor has several marks on it, and I think one of them is a number 3, and the number 3 is the mark that you use to time it to the dot on the gear. And what I'm wondering if is what happened is if there is also a couple, I think there's some dots on the Govenor, and I'm wondering if somebody put a dot to the dot, not realizing that the number 3 was the one that needs to go. So we're gonna have to do that. That's also gonna mean that we have to take this all apart and hope that we got it right. But such is life. It's got to be done. I mean, it's not runnable like this very long because it sounds like it's always under a load. I wanted to be doing this earlier today, but today has been a very interesting affair. For one, it rained almost entirely all day. Number 2, I was going to take my school bus back this morning, and right when I was getting ready to leave, that showed up. That is a tractor that's been here before. We worked on getting it running. It runs great now, but it needs a hydraulic pump put in it. So that's going to be a project we deal with as soon as we get that 1655 diesel done for the people. And so the thing is, like, I'm always waiting on parts. So when I do these videos, I try to sneak in a video with something simple of my own, or even somebody else's, that I can get a video out of in the meantime while I'm waiting. I could have 50 videos started, but I can never get one finished because I'm always waiting on some little piece of fuel line or something. And so that's how it goes. So like what have I got in the works now? Well, the 1655 diesel, I'm waiting on some fittings for fuel. And then I'm waiting on, I've got a video started on F12 farm all putting back together, or I should say carburetor rebuilding. And I've got it, actually what I'm waiting on that one is for the paint to dry, because I've got it all cleaned up and painted, but I need it to be able to be handled so that I can do that. and then we could potentially put that back together. Have a video of it running. I am bidding on some auction stuff online, so if we win that, I could make a video out of going to get that. But we won't know until tomorrow whether that's gonna happen. It's nothing super duper exciting, but some implements we don't necessarily need, but they're close by. So, I'm trying to decide how I want to go about this, and I think what I'm going to do actually is just pull it off the trailer and hope for the best. I think that's going to happen here. The trailer's pretty well at the ground level. I mean, it's going to go up a little bit, but I think that'll be easier than trying to mess with ramps, because I'm afraid that the ramps, if we take this places when we get it the way we want it, I don't know that the ramps that are with the trailer, I don't know are the ones that we are going to want. We may have to make some type of wooden ramp that we can carry along, because what I'm afraid is that these cleats are going to get they're going to get caught in the lugs of the ramp and end up flipping the ramp out of the hook and causing trouble. And I don't know that that's really going to happen or not, but we did use the ramp to put this thing on there, but I'm just not sure, you know, if we want to do that, or if we just want to like double up some 2x8s or something and make some ramps that hook in there, or I really don't know what I want. I've been thinking about that because also we would need to have something like that for taking that F12. It did climb these ramps as well, but it didn't like it very good. And so, you know, I mean, we can make something to get that stuff up on this trailer. This trailer actually is working pretty good for this. It's probably going to tear the floor all up. So maybe I need to put some metal strips down in the treads. I do know that when the F12 is on here, it worked out great. The front wheel, the center rib rolled right down one of those gaps in the wood and centered the thing perfectly. So that was kind of a nice feature that we didn't know we had. But I'm going to go get a tractor, and we're going to pull this off of here and see what we got. I guess I could use this other tractor that's sitting right here, but I'd rather use my own instead of something stupid happen and then I end up having to fix something for him. It would pull that off just fine, but I don't know. Well, let's see if it'll run. If it'll run, we'll use this, because it's right here. You all remember this? It was here. Oh, okay. This bottle jack was another thing that I did not enjoy that took place a while ago. I have trouble with people just coming over here helping themselves. I've said that before. Well, I look out the window all at once, and there's these guys walking around out here. What the heck? Well, they claimed their pickup had broke a motor mount, and they wanted a jack or something, but they were looking around through all my buildings and stuff, and that really kind of ticked me off. And then they were like, "What's that sign about that says people shouldn't come here?" And I was like, exactly what it says. People shouldn't come here. I mean, anyway, it amazes me how stupid people are, because apparently they think that that doesn't apply to them. But especially, just like what I said a few weeks ago, if somebody doesn't come here right away, that doesn't entitle you to go looking around through all the buildings, because then he was wanting to buy stuff. And what I don't like is he was some type of a scrapper or something, because he had a little trailer with crap and he was trying to trade me, and I figured that he was just shopping so that they can come back and try to rob me later, and that ticks me off. I mean, I'm about over it. I think what I'm going to do is about halfway up the driveway or somewhere, put another set of gates and leave them closed all the time, and then the mail people can come and they can dump the packages off along the edge there somewhere, but nobody's going to be able to come up here. And maybe I need to make it electric, you know. I don't know. I don't know what else to do because it's getting out of hand. I just am so frustrated with that. It's ridiculous. So anyway, enough of the ranting. Let's see if he has, okay, they just leave it all connected. All right, now, at first blush, when I looked at this tractor way back when, and even now, I would say that this is a repaint that the dealer probably did, but maybe it's not. Maybe it is original paint. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. There's things on it that look a little bit too sloppy to be an original, but maybe I'm wrong. Like I said, no, okay. No, it's been repainted. And I think I do remember maybe way back when that he said his dad repainted it in high school. Because see, there would have been the certified sticker under there. So this is a repaint, but it's not a bad looking tractor as far as that goes. It's got a few battle scars in it, you know, the hood and whatnot, but it obviously was a loader tractor at one point. So this is not, as far as loader tractors go, this is not a bad shaped tractor. And they're always kind of on the fence about whether they want to spend the money on it or whatever. But I mean, first of all, it was Grandpa's tractor, so for me, that would be enough for me to want to keep it, you know. But I think they've figured out too, it's so handy, like auger running and different things, and that if you went out and bought another tractor to do those little jobs, or like V-rake, stuff like that, it would be a lot cheaper to just put a hydraulic pump in this one. So that's what they're going to do. Also, he said it always starts. So we are about to prove that theory. Does it always start? Look at that. We got that fixed anyway. Probably needs a little choke though. That's usually how they are. I messed with this last time it was here, you recall, because it wouldn't stay running. And then I ended up cutting that whole field of hay with it, and it never missed a beat. I think till the very end, then we could figure out what it was. And ever since then, I think it's been going great. But anyway. If it sits on my property, it has the potential to get used for something. than just using somebody else's tractor for my own personal fun. What did that tell me? Just driving it that much, I believe that the hydraulic pump is weak. They told me they never lost steering, but I can tell you from driving it right now that that steering is not what it should be. Normally they are more, the power steering is more effortless. Now part of that might be because of the gigantic tires, but not really. That power steering is a little bit weak. So that does not make me feel sad that we're gonna be doing what we're gonna be doing. Getting in there, tackling that hydraulic pump. Also makes me kind of want to rebuild that steering block, but then I would have to tear the whole front of the tractor apart. I really don't want to do that. But I also don't want the thing leaking hydraulic fluid all the time to the point that they starve a new pump for oil because they don't realize that it's low on oil. Also, that repair will entail me replacing all of the transmission oil, which I think is good, because oftentimes I feel that that gets neglected. People do not check the transmission oil because it's a plug in the side of the housing there. And so I've worked on a lot of them where they're very, very low because they just don't get checked. That filter almost never gets replaced. You know, another culprit of that losing oil would be like the brakes. I don't remember, did I work on any of this? No, I don't think I put that filter on, but it has been replaced in more recent times because it is a CarQuest filter and not a, you know, white motor filter, so that's good. And they changed the oil last year, it looks like, so that's a win. But this has been working. So we're going to try to not look at that whenever we get to this project. It's going to be a while. I told them that. So they knew, but he brought it so that it was here. But when we get that 1655 diesel done, this is going in there and we're going to do that. And then when this one's done, the next one in line is that 1555 conglomeration thing over there that is going to be interesting. I don't know how we're going to do that. But yes, that track he has got way, way too tight because it has no slop in it at all. And you could hear it really grinding when it went. He got it too much. We're going to have to back it off. But like I said, we're going to have to totally reconfunculate those when we get that far. But for now, we got her on the old terra firma here, and we're going to try to get in here and work on this. Now, me not being a Cleatrack mechanic, having never worked on one before, I sure would like to be able to take the cap off the Govenor without taking anything else loose. I don't know if there's physically going to be room for that, but we are first going to try that, and then from there we're going to go on. Another oddity that we noticed, that guy actually noticed it too, and I got to thinking, I wonder if they're flip-flopped in for in. But look at the clevis to nowhere. I'm not real sure what was going on here with this throttle linkage, or if that is supposed to have a super longer pin and it goes through both sides of the clevis. That's just an odd choice of why would you do that. So then I thought, well, maybe that rod's supposed to go through there, but it's not long enough to go through the whole thing. So I don't know what they were thinking, but that's a tomorrow's problem, not today. Today's problem is going to be tearing into this jobby right here. We may also need our little mirror, because I doubt that I'm going to be able to see what I need to see. You see, I guess if I don't know, if I took all the sheet metal off, yeah, I could, but I really don't want to do that yet. I would like to solve this problem right like it sits. Can we do that? I don't know. I guess one thing I could do, the hood is loose, that's why this is on there, so I could take the hood off, which would potentially gain me some access to the top You know, not much though, because the old Kentucky fan's in there. So let me get some tools and we're gonna try and see what we see. All right, we got lots of stuff going on here at once. We're bidding on auction stuff. We're trying to monitor that. Looks like 34 minutes before my deal comes up for ending. Then we got to monitor my today's YouTube video, which I need to release to you. I'm working on that. It just finished uploading, so that's going to take it a little bit to run the checks on it to make sure I didn't commit some kind of copyright crime. So we'll deal with that. But would it be smart? I know that we're going to be in uncharted territory here if I'm talking about doing something smart. Would it be smart to try to get this pulled up on number 1 as it shows now? See, there's a little window in here, and there should be a white line. And that white line means number 1. And what I'm wondering is if we would have it on number 1 now before we take it apart, then we could see how they had it and if they're anywhere even close to what it's supposed to be. See, the reason this is a problem is because you're dealing with, this is a slot, and it has to be a certain orientation or you're not going to get it. It has to be what it has to be. So that's going to be part of it. Another thing is I need to get all this linkage out of our way, because that's not going to fly to get where we are. See, that's not right. I got this piece of, I don't even know where this came from, a piece of plywood. It might be good to just kick that under here, you know? Then I could get down to ground level. But if I recall, the reason I haven't been using it for that is because there are screws sticking up in it, and I'd rather not run one of those through my body. But at this point, maybe it's worth the risk. Oh boy, how can I turn that? It'd be nice if it still had the crank on it, but it doesn't. Can I get this wrench wedged in there? Yes. Ooh, see there, it impulsed. There should be a white mark on there. So what you're going to want to do is blind yourself in the face with high-powered lumens. See right there, that kerchuck should have been. There it is. There it is. Okay. Okay, it just fired on number 1. That should be number 1. Should we check it? I don't know if it goes through a tube or anything. Yep, that's number 1. All right, so that part's correct. Right now, the tractor is sitting with that where it has to be. Now, we need to get this cover off of there, and I got to try to figure out what kind of fasteners we got holding that down. With that one, the one on the bottom looks gigantic. Would that be right? There's like a 5/8 one at the bottom, and then a one that takes 9/16 at the top. Also, this is very uncomfortable leaning against this track. I thought that this would be so much better, but it is not. I don't know what to, I don't have anything here to grab. Talk about the sketchiest stuff that I do. I mean, that's too big. Let's try this one. I can't believe that there's two different sizes of stuff. I guess one thing I could do right now, though, before we do that, is what if I took this magneto off? Oh, does that go all the way through? Surely not. That surely doesn't go all the way through to the one I'm trying to get out, does it? What I could do now is pull the magneto off and see if the slot is the way it shows it in the book, like in the picture. It's very specific about which way the slot has to be for it to be correct. So let's do that first, because that will tell us we're headed in the right direction, maybe. But then it's still possible that there's some goofy thing wrong. And see, he has been in there too. Inside of this is also like the rotor is gear driven, so you can move it off by teeth too. So he could have that way out of whack also. It could be wrong. So that's another thing we're fighting. Anytime we're fighting something somebody else has done. Okay. I gotta get my backboard that I'm leaning against. Okay. Okay, let's look at the notes. I took pictures. Let's check our auction first. See how it's coming along. Let's check our... Okay. Boy, it shows that it's... It shows that it's in the right orientation. It does. I wish I had brought along something to... What did I bring here? I brought a pocket screwdriver. I can pry that up a little bit. Or not. Let's get this back a little bit further. Boy, that is, if that's not right, that is very, very close to what it's supposed to be. So then it makes me wonder, well, we actually need to look here too. See, the fun part of this is there's just more stuff. Okay, he does not have this timed correctly. And he said that he had tried every different way, but that is not the way you do that. It's supposed to be after the 7th mark, I think. I guess this, well, no, that would tell us that. Let's go on to the next one. The punch mark on the trip plate is in position after the 7th graduated mark on the magneto housing. So, what that means, and this is a big deal for a John Deere, I know because we went down this road. You see how that back has a whole bunch of marks on it? And then right below that, there's one mark on the impulse plate. You have to set that at how many degrees before something you want it to snap. And as if not to complicate things, like everybody else reads those as 1 degree, I think, but John Deere reads them as like 2.5 degrees. So like on a 2-cylinder, you need to set it like it is, I think, now. And then on everything else, you want to set it over. So we need to move that way over. We're going to do this by the book, whether it likes it or not. So before we put that back on, we're going to set that plate. We're going to set that plate there, and then we'll go on. Boy, that is a through bolt. Huh, that's kind of bizarre. That is a bizarre setup. No wonder that's oily and covered with crap. Because that is, interesting. Let's see if we, dang, we lost a piece. That's okay. Can we get that on there? I think we can. Can we use a stepping wrench? Oh, that would be tight, dummy. Come on, get on there. Get on there. Get on there. Dang. Come on. Come on. Come out of there. You're going to make me go every thread. You're not going to let me turn my hand at all. You're going to do it where you won't let the ratchet go, but then you make me... Yeah, that's always fun when it's like that. Actually, now that I'm thinking about this, I wonder if I shouldn't just take the whole timing cover off, because I'm wondering if the reason it's acting goofy is because the camshaft to the crankshaft is off kilter. Yeah. Is there another bolt in there or what? Sure seems like it. Oh, no. Ouch. That really hurt. I thought that was it. Come on. Okay. Now, for the difficult part. Well, the part one is that the phone has been collecting oil, so that's great. Okay. Finally, a conclusive thing. Maybe. I see the number 3, and it is not there. However, I do not see Nazi. I do not, we don't say that anymore. I do not see, man, oh, we might actually get to use a new feature of this light. Another feature of it, I should say. If I can find my pocket screwdriver back. There's a hook on it. Let's try the hook. That might be just the thing I need to get that light to stay where I want it. What if I try that? Wow, cool. Okay. What if I turn this around? There's the punch mark. Okay. I think this is going to prove out our theory. Let's get you where you can see. I don't know if you can see it or not, but right there is a number 3. Right there is a number 2. And there might be another number on here somewhere, I don't know. But what we're supposed to have, you see in there, you probably can't. Can I get you in there? Do you see on that cam gear, that dot? Is that clear? Well, that dot is supposed to be meshed to the number 3. So, that's my thinking, according to how I read the instructions. So, what if I put that in there? See, all we can do is have it so totally screwed up that it won't even run. You know, if that's the worst that could happen, then, you know, what are we afraid of? Okay. Nope, let's try that one. Get in there, yo. Is that right? Nope, we're off by 1. Okay, now I'm off by one. I need to go this way one. Come on. See, it would be so much easier if the sheet metal wasn't all in your face. Almost like they intended it that way. Ooh, that's not right. Now I'm off by one the other direction. Come on. What you have to do is you got to kind of like spin it while you put it in there for this to all play nice. There we go. Get in there. Now, the number 3 is in the punch mark. I'm going to assume that that is correct. I am now going to turn the motor over to see if there are any other marks on that camshaft gear that maybe I am fooling myself and I need to just and I'm hoping that we do not find anything else. It would be awfully strange if they put more than one mark in that cam gear, because I don't think so. Ooh, there's like an 8-1 mark. It said the dot. It said use the dot. So as long as there's not another dot, there's the dot, and it's gonna work out perfect. The number 3 came into the dot again. Awesome. So that's awesome. What I'm not sure on though is there's got to be something missing here. There's got to be something on that. Is there something on that Govenor missing? Here's the reason I say that, friends. There's my pocket screwdriver. Boy, I wish I'd waited for the parts book to get here. Is my brain not working here? You see the Govenor? Well, those weights, how are they not going to hit anything in here? How is this fork going to ever hit them? I am thinking that something is not right, and that perhaps the Govenor was not governating, and that's why there's some trouble. Should there not be like a spool or something and some thrust bearings? That did not fall out. I mean, it's not like I dropped it on the way out. There's just nothing there. That's all the stuff that I got out of there. Oh boy. It also calls into question there has to be, ooh, don't jump out of there. There has to be something missing. We're not even complete on our task yet. So now what we can do is we can go try to get that other parts tractor I got. And I think that the housing was melted on there, but I think it was intact. So maybe we need to drag it up here and see if that whatever's missing is good. Because right now, there is no way that this would work and do anything. Like, there's nothing that would hit the weights and hit that fork. You see what I'm saying? That probably doesn't make sense. Like, that fork cannot go in that far. I don't know. Let me do some investigating and I'll bring you back. Well, friends, did I ever tell you that I love auctions? I think I've mentioned that a time or two. I won 2 things so far, and the last thing I'm bidding on has 24 seconds left. So we'll see if I get that. But if I do, then we will be going to get some treasures tomorrow. And with what I spent on these treasures, friends, I could scrap it for more than that. It's going to be spectacular. I can't wait. Let's see, 2 seconds, 1 second. Did Ross win? It says completed, pending though. Let's refresh. Let's refresh to make sure. We've been burned a time or two that way. 1, 2, 3, awesome. So, I'm not gonna spoil that surprise yet, but that's awesome. I paid, I might have paid like 600 bucks for 3 things. And when you see what they are, it's worth a lot more than that. Now, I didn't video this, dragging this up here. Absolutely none of the 3 wheels spin, so that tells me all I need to know about the condition of this. It's pretty well toast, friends. Sadly enough, but it is going to give its life to help a crawler, so I went ahead and brought it up here closer. And what I have learned immediately, check this out. There was a bearing in there, which is junk on this, but that proves my point. There was like a bearing in a bearing, you know. It's much like a clutch throwout bearing almost, is in its construction, the way it looks to me. Now, I don't know if there's more spacers behind it. We're going to look up online to be sure, but that's pretty well going to table us on the Cleatrack crawler until we get that done. So, or get that ordered, I should say. So, I will do some looking online and we'll figure that out. But that is part of what its problem was. Is first of all, the Govenor wasn't anywhere close to time, and then it's missing pieces. So we're gonna just make her the way she should be on our way back together. You see, that's nice, isn't it? We need to get this bracket pulled off of here, and then we'll have to pull the motor for the next rendition of getting the bell housing out. And I bet it's going to make me somehow try to get that steering shaft out, and I bet that's going to be a struggle bus, friends, because there ain't nothing turning about that. So what's going to happen there is a torch situation, or maybe a sawzall, not sawzall, but the porta band might make its appearance. It's a shame, but I really, when I first got this, I think it sat outside for almost a year. It might have been 6 months. I don't remember. I remember when the fire happened, I heard about it, but I want to say the fire happened closer to winter, and I got the stuff in like July or August. So by that point, it had already sat out and it was all locked up. If something burns, the best thing you could do is put it inside somewhere and hose it down with oil as quick as possible and keep it turning. Because once she locks up now, she's locked up. And that's what this is. Everything on it is stuck. There is nothing. Maybe the throttle lever. Is the throttle lever? Look at that. That moves. But everything else, it's a boat anchor, friends. But I couldn't let it go to the trash because today is its day to shine. It's going to save something else. And maybe one day I will find one of these. I've kind of been looking, and then I've seen them and never followed up on, but I'll find another Cleatrack General someday, and maybe I'll need something off of here for that. But anyway, we're using that bell housing. Definitely, it's better than the one we got. But that means pulling the motor, flywheel, the whole shebang, getting the steering shaft out of the way, and the like. But that's pretty cool. So let's go grab some tools and see if we can't get that off of here, because this we definitely need. That's too far gone to even mess with, but it did answer our question, so good deal. All right, think we'll get that off of there. I'm betting the bolts will twist off. and that's fine. Maybe they won't. That's pretty snazzy. Oh. Come on. Look at that. Look at it. Came right off there. What do you think, buddy, the DOG, huh? Nothing? Okay. Well, even though there's no success here, as in seeing this thing run, we did have a fruitful day with it. We learned some very important info that we needed to know and was causing a lot of our issue, I believe. So, first of all, the timing was so screwed up. It's no wonder. Second of all, we got to get that bearing, because if we don't have that bearing, that's no good. No gooder things happen when stuff like that happens. I'm amazed that in the time that he had it running, that it did not self-destruct the fork or the housing, because that would let, well, I guess it couldn't. I guess the shaft would have held it where it was supposed to go, but the weights were just spinning around in there and nothing was happening, you know. So he never could get it to run long enough for it to do anything, though. So that explains a lot of what was going on there. So I will track down appropriate stuff. What I'm going to do now is try to gingerly put this back together. Just stick it in there, you know. You know how we just stick her in? Well, we're going to stick this all together so it doesn't get trash in there more than necessary. And then what we're going to do, see now, it's got a little springy to it. We're up against that impulse. Let's flip it 180. It might do that all the time, though. Yeah. Okay. I can't do this one-handed. That's what she said. But my one-track mind won't let me not do this. I'd like to just get you started. So you just hold there together. That's better than nothing. Tighten this up a little bit, maybe. Nope, that's wrong. That was wrong. All the way around. Let's just walk away. But I didn't want it to sit here and be against the spring the whole time either. So that's why I just did what I did. But that's good enough to keep it closed up until we can get our parts that we need. So I'm going to just pick up my stuff here that's lying on the ground and lay it in appropriately all over everything. Wonder if I could get that top bolt started in there just for fun. Just for fun? No? Yes? No? I don't know. That'll hold it. It ain't going nowhere. It's got no pressure on it or anything. It's just trying to keep big chunks of nature out of it. All right, friends. So, we know where we stand. We got more homework to do. We will get that accumulated. Perhaps by that time, the rest of our fan pieces will come, in which case we can then mount our fan on and put that the way that it's supposed to be, instead of this cobbled up way that it is. And from there, we will just have to attempt to get it running again now with the correct timing. And then we're just going to keep sorting out its issues a little at a time. That's how we do with all our projects. We just we don't break the bank and spend thousands of dollars all at once. We go a little bit over time and, you know, hunt stuff up and make it happen. And that's what we're going to do. But, you know, we're going to be doing a total disassembly there basically to switch that bell housing out, because that's a major that's a major rager there, friends. I mean, there ain't no other way. And what I say we're going to find on our journey of that is we are going to find that there's more cobbled up Kentucky fasteners in there probably, where they just used whatever they found that had washed up the river that day, you know? Some people do that. And we're going to try to make it more better-ish so that we might actually be able to play with it. Unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to have it done for the tractor show this weekend. Doesn't look like that's going to happen. Maybe if Ross had been a little more diligent about getting to it, but I just didn't have time, and the weather's been raining every day, so yeah. But anyway, this will be in future videos. We'll sort it out. We'll get it done. It just takes time, friends. It just takes time. We got plenty of stuff to make videos on. Fear not. We just have to have the weather cooperate with us too, because we got 1655 of a customers, 1650 of a customers, 1550 of a customers. We've got Dad's 200, which I pulled over to start working on it and never got that done. We've got 2 of Dad's things on the trailer that he brought over here and left, and that means fix it. So that's what we're gonna do. And then we got my lawnmower over there that I'd like to work on, my 105. We've just got plenty stuff to do. And if we live to be 400, I think we'll make a pretty good dent in it. If not, I guess you guys will when you buy it at my auction. So, anywhoos, we're gonna call this video here. As always, friends, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. After watching what you just saw, do you feel like your IQ has dropped lower than your credit score? Well, there's no reason that both of us should be miserable, so go ahead and hit that thumbs up and leave a comment. That stuff costs you nothing, and it really helps me out. Your banker may not approve, but I know mine will. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.